Right, morning guys. We might as well kick off now. It's 5 past and we're still waiting for some people to turn up. So we might as well kick off and hopefully they will join us during the presentation. Just to introduce myself, my name's Dan Mason. I'm from Westpear Telecom. I'm a unified communications specialist and we're with our partner RingCentral. If you can see your little videos, you'll see Marvin in one of them, and Marvin will be going through the RingCentral piece and he'll also do a demo. Just so everybody's aware, we are recording this session so we can send it out afterwards for people that were unable to attend. Apologies in advance if anyone has a dog barking or anything like that, because that's the new world, the global pandemic that we're in, and home working. So it's just the kind of way it goes. I'm going to do a very brief overview of Westpear Telecom, who we are, what we do, and then I'll hand over to Marvin and Marvin can run through the RingCentral piece. If you have any questions, there's a little box at the bottom. Type your comments in. We'll try to answer them during the presentation. And there's a Q&A at the end. So if you have any burning desires or anything that you need to go through, then we can do that at the end. Right, so Westpear Telecom, who are we? We've been around for about 20 years. We are very, very good at what we do, even if I do say so myself. We do unified communications. We're an Avaya Diamond partner, and as you all know, Avaya have partnered with RingCentral. And the way of the world now is moving towards hosted telephony, and especially with everything that's happening. We're an official RingCentral partner, and we can provide you everything from unified communications as a service all the way through to some SIP channels. Over 66,000 endpoints across the world. Everyone's trained. We manage OpenReach, SIP, number translation, everything like that. At Westpear, we're very unusual. Our help desk is 24/7, 365, and that's manned by our engineers. So all of the first line support and triage comes from Westpear Telecom. So as I always tell my customers, if you're bored on Christmas Day, there will be an engineer on call and you can give him a call. Quick look at some of our customers, some interesting ones there. I mean, obviously the big ship on the left-hand side, the Type 45 destroyer, that doesn't have hosted telephony, but as my son is going to become a commissioned officer in the Royal Navy on the 13th of August, I kind of like that one. But we do have massive companies like Travelopia and companies like Sapphire Systems who have a hosted system around the world. So we can do everything from, putting a telephone system onto a ship to hosted systems for customers all around the world. There will be a Q&A at the end, and what I'm going to do is hand over to Marvin, and Marvin's going to run through the RingCentral piece. He's going to go through a demo. If you have a question, ask away, and then at the end, if there's anything you want to see, then I'm sure Marvin will be able to demo it. There you go. Should be back to Marvin now.
Hey everybody. I just wanted to confirm that you can see my slides before I start talking. Yep.
Yep, all good.
Yep, you're good.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us today. We've got just under an hour left together, so without further ado, I will press on with my presentation and demonstration. That's going to be largely the format for the next 40 minutes or so. What I wanted to talk to you about generally today was how the world is going, has gone, will continue to go remote, right? It's all about flexible working now. For people like me, it's always been about flexible working. I've worked flexibly for many years, but I work in this industry, right? And we kind of bring these software services to market that allow us to do that. It's definitely an interesting time to be in this industry. I've been involved in some really interesting conversations with the likes of NHS trusts, getting an insight into how the NHS plan on working flexibly. I mean, there's a few words that I've never heard in the same sentence before, the NHS and flexible working. So a really incredible time, but we're starting to feel the tone of the conversation change now. It's much less about how do we get through the next couple of months. It's starting to turn back towards whatever we do now is something that's going to need to stand the test of time and serve us strategically going forward. Both the communications industry itself and all businesses have undergone a permanent transformation, and now we start to see plans for the future being made. But our requirements have changed. From if looking back 6 months, our requirements for communications have changed as well. So before I get into the detail, a little bit about me. So my name is Marvin Tress. I've been at RingCentral for just over a year now. I am a solutions engineering team leader in the global solutions engineering team at RingCentral, which is over 150 solutions engineers strong now globally. All of these solutions engineers focused on designing solutions for you, our customers. I'm an expert in unified communications, contact center, cloud. My background is organizations like industry behemoth Avaya, and then before there, household brands such as Vodafone. So got a really good broad experience and spectrum and view on the world, really. But yeah, I would say my key specialisms are unified communications, contact center, digital transformation, customer experience, those kinds of topics that we're all extremely familiar with now. So a little bit about RingCentral. You may have heard of us. We are a Gartner Magic Quadrant leader for UCaaS. So Gartner, very well known and well respected industry analyst. I'm just going to stop my video just one sec. Very well known and respected industry analyst. The way that the Magic Quadrant works, along the bottom axis, you've got completeness of vision, and then up on the left-hand side on the y-axis, we've got the ability to execute. And just take a minute to look what the position that RingCentral occupy within this quadrant. It's very much in the leaders quadrant, which is the top right-hand corner quadrant. But we're also the furthest to the top right-hand corner as well, and that is, that's the prime real estate on the Gartner Magic Quadrant, or the Gartner Magic Quadrants for anything. The aim is to be in the top right-hand corner. What is particularly interesting about this quadrant for me, apart from the fact that we've been in the leaders quadrant for over 5 years now, just look at our position in relation to some of our competitors and some of the organizations that are in the industry alongside us. Gartner consider us to have a stronger vision than Microsoft, and a similar ability to execute, which is quite powerful for me, given the size of an organization of Microsoft, the amount of resources they have available to them. That's quite impressive for me, and the same thing for Google as well. We've got a much stronger completeness of vision, and we've got an ability to execute on a par with these absolutely huge organizations. So it's testament really as far as real-time communications, voice, video, messaging, all of that kind of stuff that comes under the unified communications umbrella. Gartner consider us to be in the prime spot, and this is true for other industry analysts as well. So if you look at the Forrester report, the Baird report, it is a recurring theme that we are widely regarded to have the best UCaaS platform. So really interesting position we occupy there. So most businesses have been moving towards working from home, I would say, for years now. We quite often see in tender responses, bids, statements of requirements, customers have been telling us for a long time that they want to be able to work from home, work remotely. Some steps were put in place by these organisations, but working from home was largely focused on unified communications, or even maybe the road warriors, the people that their office is their car, they're always out and about, and they need to be able to communicate whilst they're performing their job in that way. But then there's also the contact center angle as well, which, in my mind, having experience in both camps, how do you get a contact center to work from home? This is, generally speaking, for many businesses, it's the cash engine of their businesses. It's where they generate most of their money. And having your contact center agents work from home is definitely technically more challenging, definitely more complex. Clearly, the current situation turbo boosted the whole work from home conversation, no doubt. Generational change is also bringing different expectations. Again, a topic that's massively in focus right now. But this will change over time still. The jury's out on exactly how will it change, but what will happen next? Does everybody go running back to an office as soon as it's open? I really don't think so. There are some functions that have to do that in order to perform their roles. Some industries where that is definitely a requirement. But even in those industries, the promise of working from home, everybody understands it now. And everybody's starting to think, what can we do? It's not just about working from home, it's about working from anywhere. It's really important for people looking at, what their next step in their career is as well. Definitely job applicants are considering your business and the way that they will be able to work should they accept that offer of a position with you. It was previously a nice to have. But definitely the generations and expectations are changing as the younger generations come into the workforce. They definitely have different expectations, and these people are the next CEOs, the next CTOs of the future. So it's going to keep on changing as well. Everything's changed. It's going to keep changing. That's a fact. So some of the other things RingCentral offer as part of their service, and some of the the more subtle nuances to working from home and how we can help you. Company performance is important, absolutely, but so is mental health. Profit is key, but so is company culture. Customer experience is king, but don't forget the employee experience. All of these concepts go hand in hand. Without one, you can't really have the other. As an example, unhappy employees, that's going to filter down to your customers, and you're going to have unhappy customers eventually. So it's really important to notice that people are really part of our strategy in the way that we communicate and the way that we bring our technology services to market to ensure that you are able to ensure that your people are okay as well, and not just that they're okay, but they're bought into the company culture. You've got a flexible and an interesting way of working. Everybody's collaborative, and it just changes the perception of a business and what it means to work there. And employees showing signs of stress can't perform, and worse still, they might not be very happy if they're stressed, and they may be looking to work somewhere else maybe. Eventually, your customers will feel this. Unhappy employees will eventually result in unhappy customers, and then ultimately so will the business. Never before really have we felt so strong about the role that technology has to play in not just business but everything now, like school. My children homeschooling online, using cloud document management systems to access their school books now, but also just life in general. Previously, devices and internet and connectivity. As a father of 4, for me, they were a challenge. but now they're a lifeline. In order to know that you're placing the right bets for your future, for your business, for me, the most important consideration is flexibility, because your requirements yesterday might not be the same as your requirements today, and your requirements today may not be the same as your requirements tomorrow. So flexibility is really important. If it's flexible, then you can adapt to these changes and these new requirements as and when they happen. When I talk about flexibility, I'm talking about flexibility in how you connect to a service. So think about, do I have to be on the VPN? Do I have to be on the MPLS? Can I just get to it through the internet? How you consume that technology, but then also how you continually evolve that technology as requirements change. One thing we saw in the past was it's great that new features come out, but it's going to take us a year to be able to get to those features, because we need to do an upgrade. We've got all of these kind of security things that we need to start thinking about. Cloud really removes all of that complexity, and it allows you to stop playing catch up with your customer expectations and get ahead. An example that I wanted to mention today was, in retail. I used to do a lot of work in retail, and there was one customer that I worked with in particular, and their customers. So this customer had retail stores in every postcode all over the UK. A really big organisation. You will definitely have heard of them. And they were finding that their customers, their branches' customers, they wanted to communicate in a slightly different way. So they didn't want to have to drive into the store. Or even make a phone call to the store to check a specific part. They wanted to do things like take a picture of this really unique part and send it to the store just to make sure that's the one you've got in stock, yes, and then I'll come and collect it. So the branches started to use WhatsApp because the business couldn't give the stores the communication tools they need to communicate with their customers in the way that their customers expected fast enough. So they started to use WhatsApp, and it worked for the branches. It gave them the communications they needed. But when the organization realized that this was happening, they were not particularly happy about it, because essentially what was happening is their branches were taking business data outside of the business. So it was now uncontrollable. So it's just really interesting to see, as there are new social networks, new ways of communicating, new ways of collaborating, whether it be business to business, business to consumer, or social. New ways of communicating and platforms constantly appear. As that happens, you need something that's really flexible so that you can continue to communicate in those ways as well. Teams are now disparate. So wouldn't it be great if you could manage your team, who are now maybe, distributed around a city, a country, a continent, or even the world? Wouldn't it be great if you could manage that team from anywhere, no matter where they are, that you have the data you need to ensure that your team is at least still as productive as before, but with the confidence to make business decisions that are backed by data that will allow you to become even more productive. It's all about data. Using the RingCentral analytics platform, in the moment how many customers you've spoken today, last week, last month. More importantly, how many customers did you not manage to speak to? How many customers contacted you but didn't quite make it for whatever reason? How do you know your flexible working strategy is working? Adoption and usage reports allow you to ensure that you know who your most prolific video or messaging users are. Why? What is really working for these people? Why are they using the technology so ferociously? And who isn't using the technology? Why? Let's take some of the good that people are doing and maybe apply that to some of the user groups that maybe need a little bit of help with the technology. Making the right decisions is vital, but also, being able to trust your employees is key. So it's all about data, and I'm going to show you the RingCentral analytics platform briefly in the demonstration shortly. So don't answer now, but think about it. How many of you have considered or are considering digital transformation, or even maybe how you engage your customers on the platform of their choice? And what I mean by that is maybe a social media channel. So I think probably most of us have been there, right? You get to the train station, you park the car, you get to the platform, and you find out your train is late and you're stood on the platform amongst what feels like hundreds of other people. What's the first thing you do? Twitter, of course. You know, that is how to get an organization's attention nowadays, it seems, is to you know, broadcast on social media, particularly if you've got lots of followers. Most vendors typically integrate into two channels, which is Facebook and Twitter. WhatsApp sporadically, so some of the vendors can handle that as well. After that, things get a lot less defined. What would you say if I told you that RingCentral can make available to you over 20 digital channels, 20 social channels to converse with your customers, channels that include things like Instagram, Google reviews, Apple business messaging, YouTube, many more, you know, real proper social messaging platform. And what if I told you that we could solve the digital identity problem for you as well? So you may be wondering what that means. Well, think about all of the digital identities that you use. When I think about me, I think my Twitter handle is different to my Facebook profile name, is different to my Instagram page. When that customer communicates with your business over lots of different channels, how do you know who they are? So RingCentral use really you know, cutting edge technology within our services, things like AI, to aggregate all of those digital identities into the person. So you know who the person is you're talking to, even if they're hopping between channels. Everything gets more personal and therefore more impactful for the customer. And we know that when an experience with a service provider for the customer is impactful, they will stay longer. Location of work is really, although you might think location, you know, is top of mind right now, where everybody's working, everybody's talking about working from home. For me, it's actually less important. What I'm talking about is not working from an office or working from home. I'm literally just talking about working wherever you might be, because where you really work is within applications. An office, a home, or a meeting place is just somewhere to sit, to connect to a network, and also maybe to socialize with colleagues. At RingCentral, our mission is to connect people, and you won't see location being mentioned in any part of that strategy at all. It's literally about being able to connect from anywhere and communicate from anywhere, and that is really all enabled by, you know, true cloud, being able to access from the office, being able to access from the internet. Maybe you're in between physical places, maybe you're traveling from physical location 1 to physical location 2, and you want to continue working there as well. That's what we do. So it's all about the power of cloud. What if I told you you could add new users to your communications platform, live users from nothing exists to these users are now consuming this service in under 2 minutes? What if I told you we could do that all over the UK? What if I told you we could do that all over Europe? What if I told you we could do that in more than 40 countries with full service? By full service, I mean local telephone numbers, compliance with local regulations, using any channel to communicate, you know, messaging, video, and phone, to communicate internally with colleagues, but also externally with customers. RingCentral can help you plan all of this for whatever comes next. We've done it many, many times before, of customers of, you know, many different shapes and sizes, from one user right up to, you know, 70,000 users, that's spanning the globe in different regions and theatres across all verticals. So we've done it before, and, you know, we'd like to lend you our experience. The three key tenets of RingCentral's cloud strategy are, it's simplicity and flexibility first. Everything's accessible through a web portal globally. We've got hundreds of out-of-the-box integrations. We've got way more than any of our competitors in our app gallery. Integrations that you can use, they're included in your subscription. You click on them, download them, and just start using them. We're going to talk about integrations a little bit more shortly, but remember this, we put communications where you need it, when you need it. It's not about, here's an app, you must use this app to communicate. We put our services where you need our services to be. It's also about communicating from anywhere, so you'll find us in every app store. We've got desktop and mobile versions of all of our applications. Our platform is built on WebRTC, so you don't even have to download an application. You can consume our service through a browser. Lots of customers found that really handy during lockdown when they went home and needed to kind of work around their current security policy whilst they amended it and allowed the RingCentral app. They just logged onto a link through the browser. Everything is 100% cloud through the RingCentral storefront, and any hardware such as phones that you order when you're standing up new users, they will be with you next day. Best efforts. And in the meantime, the user just uses the soft phone while they're waiting for their phone to be delivered. Okay, I'm going to jump across to the demonstration. First of all, I wanted to show you the RingCentral app gallery. So a minute ago, we talked about two things that I want to come back to. So first of all, flexibility, and secondly, integrations. So two topics, but actually one. It's the integration that gives you the flexibility. And I mentioned a minute ago about communicating the way that you want to, not the way that we think you should. So I would encourage all of you to come to the RingCentral app gallery. It's public facing. Just look up ringcentral.com/apps, and that will take you to our application gallery. Within here we have, it's around 240, I believe, at last count, 240 out-of-the-box integrations that are included in your RingCentral subscription. You can find integrations in different ways. First of all, you can search in the search bar, and it will filter applications that way. Or you can come to this menu tree down the left-hand side, and you can search for integrations that are focused on particular technologies or use cases, so AI, down to analytics, automation, maybe you want to create a chatbot or a notification service of some kind, right down to, it's a CRM I'm interested in, and then down into, specific vertical markets. So that's how to navigate your way around the app gallery. I would recommend, if you, integration is on your mind, I would recommend you come here and you punch in, the system that you would like to integrate your communications into, and have a look at that integration. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us and Westpeer, and we will endeavour to answer those questions for you. Okay, back to Microsoft. So the focus for today was all around Microsoft and how we play in a Microsoft environment. So the key message for Microsoft is, we're integrated to Microsoft at every layer and at every level. So simply by putting Microsoft into the search bar, you can see here we have an Outlook plugin. Maybe, and this is how I work, I do everything in a browser. So, maybe you want to communicate from your 365 applications. I'm going to show you that in a second, or I'm going to show you an example of that. Maybe you want to integrate into Microsoft Dynamics CRM and put communications into the CRM system. Or maybe you're consuming our digital platform and you want to create a bot based on the Microsoft bot framework. You can do that also. And then clearly everyone wants to talk about Microsoft Teams, so we're going to talk to you about that a little bit later as well. So first up, 365 integration. So 365 clearly available through a browser. It's powered by the 365 Chrome extension. So just go to the, excuse me, sorry, I had to cough. Just go to the Chrome App Store, search for RingCentral, download the Chrome extension, log into the soft phone using your RingCentral credentials, you're set. The example I'm showing in 365 today is that of my diary. So I want to add a new meeting to my calendar. I want to include my team members on it, but I also want to share some video collaboration, joining information within that meeting to give us that virtual forum or virtual place in which we can meet. We do that by simply launching the RingCentral video plugin within the integration, and you're presented with a panel which allows you to insert RingCentral video meeting information into the invitation itself. You can also customize the settings. So here I've got my meeting set to require a password. This is a security feature that we have in the platform to avoid things like Zoom bombing, that thing where people randomly search for meeting IDs, find one, join it, and share some inappropriate content of some sort. So I've got that enabled on this meeting at the minute. I can disable that if I don't want the password, and I can simply click to update the meeting, and it's updated in the invitation straight away. Click send, and it's gone. The other part of the Chrome extension is this soft phone, so we can minimize that if we want it out of the way, or we can use it as a true soft phone if maybe we want to dial a number, search for a contact. Maybe we want to present a different number on an outbound call for some reason, but then also access to call logs, message logs, again contacts. So embedding soft phone capability in there, the kinds of things that you will see from additional functionality provided by the soft phone is things like click to dial. So when you are in an email and there's a dialable number within the email, then you can hover over it and click to dial. So this is the 365 integration. Remember, this is on a web page. I'm going to move across to Microsoft Teams now. Still in the web, still in the browser, still in Chrome, so you can see that the Teams web desktop is here. You can also see that I've jumped from one Microsoft web page to another, and the soft phone has followed me, which is quite interesting because everyone's using Teams, right? At RingCentral, real-time messaging, that's all we do. We very rarely use email, but I appreciate, for many customers, that's not true. Teams is an application that they use to communicate internally, but they still use email. They're still using their diary. Teams is another application that they use. So you really want this communications capability to follow you as you jump around different Microsoft web pages, and that's essentially what we get. The other thing we do with the Chrome plugin is when you're on the Microsoft page, we have this Microsoft Teams settings. So as a strategic partner of Microsoft have made available to us the APIs that allow us to take control of these buttons within the Microsoft Teams desktop. So you can see that they're currently colored orange. They're not normally colored orange. They're kind of Microsoft purple. That's the default. But the Chrome extension allows us to take over these buttons. So maybe you're using Teams for chat. You're not quite sure whether you want to put the cloud PBX into Microsoft Teams using Microsoft Phone System, or maybe you're sure that you don't. But so you can just turn that on with RingCentral, but you can maybe the video, for whatever reason you're not quite ready to move over to RingCentral yet, or vice versa. Maybe you want to move the video but leave the calling capability of Microsoft Teams. the message is you get, ultimate flexibility to choose, how to embed RingCentral into your Microsoft Teams desktop. There are reasons why you would embed RingCentral into Microsoft Teams for the phone system or the cloud PBX, as opposed to going for Microsoft phone system. So simplicity is one. It's a single subscription from RingCentral. It includes not just your unified communications cloud PBX, but also your calling plans as well. So you've got a really simple licensing model that's really easy to understand where you're at as well. Have I got enough minutes? Am I going to be overcharged for certain types of calls? A simple tiered system with the calling minutes included, just really simplifies that. One of the other reasons is global footprint. So at last count, and this may have updated in very recent times, but I'm not sure that it has, Microsoft's phone system capability. So by phone system, what I mean is a telephone number in that country that is compliant to whatever that user needs to be compliant in that country. So for Microsoft, it's 13 countries. RingCentral, we're currently at 44 different countries. So your cloud PBX capability within Microsoft Teams suddenly went, massively more global by embedding RingCentral into that desktop. And then finally, the third reason, there are more, but the third reason I'm going to tell you today is really all about resilience. So Microsoft phone system is essentially a 3 nines service. RingCentral is guaranteed 5 nines. Okay, so this is the browser. We also have a plugin that we support, and this experience is available in the desktop version as well. I can't show you that desktop demonstration today. There's a very good reason, and I'm gonna come to that in a second. But if you would like a Microsoft Teams demonstration, please reach out to Westpear and RingCentral, and we'd be only too glad to do that. So I'm going to move on from the browser now, and I'm going to move to the desktop. So I am going to give you a Microsoft Teams desktop demonstration today, but it's not the one that I was just talking about in the browser where you initiate it with the bot. The message is, with Microsoft Teams, RingCentral have got your telephony and cloud PBX functionality covered. However you want to consume RingCentral telephony, however you want to consume a cloud PBX, we've got all bases covered. So maybe you want to do it in the browser. We can do that by taking over the buttons with APIs. Maybe you want to do it in the desktop. We can do that with the RingCentral plugin. Or maybe you want a completely seamless experience. Maybe you just want to use Teams in the way that you always have and not have to worry about it. Well, you can do that. So you may have seen in the news recently that we announced to the market our direct routing integration with Microsoft Teams. We're calling this RingCentral Cloud PBX for Microsoft Teams. Essentially what it gives you is a highly resilient, really feature-rich PBX embedded within the familiar native Microsoft Teams experience. So there are 2 windows that are open right now. On the left-hand side, you can see what we call Service Web. This is our administration portal. And you can see on this portal that I have enabled a user for Microsoft Teams. You can also see that their number is 028-158-5088. You can see this number over here in Microsoft, okay? By directly integrating RingCentral Cloud PBX for Microsoft Teams with the Teams environment, what we are essentially doing is making the Microsoft Teams desktop and mobile, basically any of their applications, we're making it an endpoint of RingCentral. So no matter before, when we were clicking on these buttons in the browser and they were orange and we were sending calls via RingCentral, the user experience is exactly the same. Behind this button sits RingCentral Cloud PBX for Microsoft Teams. None of the users know that. Nothing's changed colour. The experience is exactly the same. All they know and all they need to know is if I want to make a call to Trevor, I click that button. What happens with the direct routing integration in the background is that call goes via the RingCentral Cloud PBX for Microsoft Teams, the 5 nines, the global platform. It's a native experience, so I'm just going to click call for a minute. While this happens, you won't be able to hear me. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to click call and I'm going to answer it on another device. You'll see that it's a completely native experience. I'm then going to hang up the call and then you'll be able to hear me again. Okay, can I just confirm you can hear me again?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So what you saw there was, a very basic call from the Teams desktop, completely native experience, completely seamless experience, 5 nines, highly resilient PBX in the background, performing the routing of the call. So this is really, the direct routing integration for customers that want, a true seamless experience. There are some use cases where, the browser plugin or the desktop integration via API works better. But, the message is we've got all options covered with Microsoft Teams. If you're looking for a PBX to embed into your Microsoft Teams environment, RingCentral have got all options covered. Some of the other capabilities that you get by integrating RingCentral into Microsoft Teams, think about analytics. So calling analytics, what happened yesterday, what happened last week, what happens last month. All of this analytics is available to you out of the box on the RingCentral platform. It's really easy to use. You just click to access it. You can really start to configure what the window looks like really simply and easily. These are the KPIs that I'm interested in. Okay, then let's show them. Trending view, and then down to a granular level for individual users and all of the calls that they've made, right into cradle to grave. So every single call, every single leg of the call is transcribed. So if this call is transferred around, if it goes to voicemail, you get that cradle to grave view of the interaction as well. But what if I told you all of that was available on a mobile device? So I can do anything from my mobile as well. I can view analytics. I can see right now I've got 2 agents available to answer calls. Brilliant. If I receive a couple of inbound calls, however, those agents are going to be busy and I'm not going to be able to answer my calls. Maybe I need to add some users to the group. I can do that on my mobile device just by clicking phone system, by clicking groups, by going into the admin group, managing members, editing members, and put another couple of people in the group. And now I've got 4 people in the group. It's literally that easy. What we do is we make communications, the associated analytical information, and also the ability to administer and manage your environment from anywhere. And by anywhere, I'm not talking about buildings anymore. I'm not talking about being here or there. I'm talking about the application itself being available on any device. And any application or any RingCentral application that you use has the full capability built into that application out of the box. So we're a true mobile company. With that, it brings me to the end of my demonstration, and we're going to open up the bridge for Q&A.
Thanks for that, Marvin. Has anybody got any questions, or is there anything that anybody would like to see?
Is there anything in the Q&A window, Martin, that we need to address?
Just having a look now to see if there's anything that's come through. Not at the moment, no.
Okay, just one sec. Okay. Would anybody like to see anything specifically? Is there anything, you know, in the same kind of area as what I've shown you today? Maybe an integration question, or maybe you'd like to see something else that I've not shown you today. That's also possible as well. Okay, so just while we're waiting for any questions that might come in, I just wanted to highlight, you know, the kinds of integrations that we have in our app gallery. It's not just Microsoft. So, you know, we have an integration for Slack. Canvas is, you know, an education platform. Salesforce, another huge platform that people are using. Google, so the soft phone you saw earlier in 365, we've got that available in Google, Zoho, Zendesk, Zapier. You know, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of integrations in here. We have a question. So do you have temporary message on voicemail that lasts until, say, midnight, then it reverts to a standard message? Do you have temporary message on voicemail? Okay, so I think you're talking about a voicemail greeting there. So can you record your greeting to place a certain message for a certain period of time, and then switch back to the default message? Yes, greeting. That is a feature that we have on the roadmap. I've seen that in our roadmap. Let me get the details on that, Claire, and feed that back to you. But that's something that I've asked for. Sorry, not I've asked for, but I have seen asked for a few times from customers, and we're pretty reactive like that. You know, if customers ask for features, you know, we're pretty good at bringing those into the platform. Are voicemails transcribed and emailed? Yeah, good question. So let me just jump to the admin portal. Hang on a minute. Hang on, I just need to. Okay, so the voicemails you can find in the in Service Web when you log in as a user. And so for all voicemails, you can see the viewer's text. Okay, I can't show it you right now. I've not got my other desktop open, but yes, they're transcribed and they can be sent via email. The voicemail transcription is an out-of-the-box feature, so it's not, you know, something you need to pay extra for. You just literally turn it on. And those voicemails will be transcribed and sent to the users. Yeah. Claire, any problems with Teams and multi-factor authentication methods? I'm not aware of any problems myself. You know, we use multi-factor authentication in our demo environment. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's all good. We can integrate into different identity providers for authentication. So you know, the different ways to, let me just log out here, the different ways to log into RingCentral are using either the phone number, when it comes up, my internet's going a bit slow today, the phone number or email address of your RingCentral account. We also support Google credentials, but we also support single sign-on as well. So we can integrate with any identity provider that supports SAML 2.0. That's SAML 2.0. SAML 2.0, that's an open standard. And we can use those identity providers for that authentication. And what we see quite frequently is that those identity providers actually have the two-factor authentication built into them. So when you go to log on using your, AD credentials, you maybe send a text message with a, code that you need to punch in. Yeah, so all of that is fully supported as well. So two-factor authentication will pick up Windows authentication on a network. Claire, let's have a separate conversation so I can get to, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I can get to the bottom of what it is you're trying to achieve. What I can tell you is that we provide RingCentral services to all different kinds of customers, small users, one user, right up to, industrial grade, highly secure organizations, public sector organizations. And, authentication is something that comes up in all of those bids, in all of those questions. And it's, it's something that, as far as I've seen in my time here, we can meet everybody's requirements always. So reach out to us, let's have a conversation.
Hi Claire, after this we'll contact you and we'll set up a demo and a chat with Marvin so we can go through any of these questions that you've got, hopefully answer them in a lot more depth rather than you having to furiously type there. Is there anything else anybody needs to know?
Hopefully my demonstration presentation met the mark for you today. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about RingCentral, and maybe I'll speak to some of you soon.
Yeah, costs, again, we can go through that with you on the call, depending on what variant you want and how many you want. We can definitely put something together, whether you want handsets, whether you want headsets, whether you just want soft phones, that will all depend on what you're actually looking for.
So Claire mentions the RingCentral website there, Martin. Do you want to just chime in on the website? That's essentially our e-commerce site. You can just go and buy RingCentral from a website. I wouldn't recommend you do that because by engaging with Westpear and us, you get a whole wrap of expertise and all of that kind of good stuff. But the prices on the website, they are our retail prices for our e-commerce business.
I hope it did work like that. Buy one, get three free. Claire's trying to put Westpear out of business. And Kobe, I'll get Martin to answer the question about RingCentral in Ghana. We'll come back to you about that. We have all of your details. Right, well, if there's no more questions, I'll just say thank you very much to Marvin and thank you very much for the demonstration. Thank you very much for everybody that attended. Claire and Kobe will reach out to you straight after this is finished and set something up.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Oh, thanks. If we keep calling you Claire, you're Gary. Thanks, Gary.